Hey folks, Tommy the Butcher with Wise Guys Barbecue. Easter is right around the corner. I can't think of a better thing to do for Easter than lamb. We did a Persillade rack of lamb, and what that is a fresh, vibrant crust with breadcrumbs, garlic, fresh parsley, lemon juice. It just adds great amount of flavor. And this is something, if you don't like lamb, you're gonna love this. As far as lamb is concerned, this is gonna be an attempt to convert all you naysayers out there. We wanna get you over to the middle ground, like I said, and some of you are gonna really like this. The rack of lamb is probably the less gamey of all the cuts of lamb, by far. The meat is extremely lean, and we're gonna bring that even up another notch as far as eliminating the gaminess. I'm gonna trim this down almost with no fat whatsoever. This is about 1.25 pounds rack of lamb. they all weigh about a pound and a half. It's all Frenched, but we're gonna exaggerate this French a little bit. We're gonna make it happen even more. We're gonna pull all this fat. I'm gonna look for this membrane and just keep pulling it. Once we get to this point, as you can see, we got this flap. All this fat above the bones, I want to remove it, because what that's going to do, it's just going to add a little bit to the gaminess. We're trying to de-game. We're trying to de-game this lamb. So I'm going to bring my knife in right at the top of this loin. I'm going to go straight down. Follow where that fat is, and you're going to come in contact with the bone. And at this point, starting with the end closest to you, I'm gonna keep my knife up against the bone and just little by little making cuts, scraping the bone as we go. First, it's gonna expose the bones, and little by little, we're gonna be able to trim that fat cap off that's on the top of this. That's it. That's pretty simple. And now the next step we're going to do, I'm going to continue Frenching these bones even more. If you can see, there's a lot of meat tissue in between these bones. I want to bring it down right to that loin. So we're going to basically, holding each rib, cut straight down along the bones. This is similar to the pork crown roast we did last year around the holiday time. Same technique. You'll always find that little, some of them have a longer, like half of a bone on the end there, but grab that piece of meat in between and just go in between each bone. Go straight in with the knife. It's a very simple process that eliminates that little flap in the middle. All right, so I've got that trimmed down. The next thing we want to do is remove the silver skin. I'm gonna go straight underneath the skin. I don't want to go deep into the meat. And if you keep following it, getting to the edge, you'll be able to expose that and just scrape as you're going. That removes that silver skin. All right, if you want, you can go back in here and clean these bones up, but I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be too persnickety about it. If they're clean enough, that's fine with me. I'm not going to try to scrape them totally clean of some of this meat. All right, the next step, we're gonna sear off our rack of lamb. I got a non-stick skillet here, and I'm gonna add a little olive oil. I did rub some olive oil on my rack of lamb, salt, pepper. We're gonna get that in the pan, and we're gonna get it all seared off on all sides. There we go. Yeah, we're just looking to get some color, and this will be prior to getting it into the oven. All right, we get great color on this. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna stand it up to get that backside, because if not, sometimes that doesn't make contact with the pan. All right, we're gonna get the edges. Don't forget those edges. Yeah, we got a pan on about medium-high heat. All right, I'm gonna get that other edge browned off. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat off. I'm gonna remove it from the pan. Gonna remove it to a cookie sheet, and I'm gonna let it cool for about maybe 20 minutes before the next step. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Our lamb rack has cooled off. We're gonna put together our Persillade coating for this lamb rack. I have about a cup of panko breadcrumbs. And to this, I'm gonna add about a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of fresh chopped parsley. I've got 1 clove finely minced garlic. And I got the zest of about 1 lemon. Now I'm using panko breadcrumbs. They are dry, they're crunchy. Fresh breadcrumbs work well with this as well. I'm gonna mix all this mixture up. And this is our Persillade, or Persillade, I should say. You got some very fresh, vibrant flavors in here. All right. Now there's our coating. In order to get it onto the lamb rack, we're gonna brush it with some Dijon mustard. That's gonna be our binder. Maybe a tablespoon or so, a couple teaspoons. I'm just gonna brush it on, get all sides. And this mustard is, it's gonna kind of cook off. You're not gonna get a strong mustard flavor. It really won't be present, but you wanna get a binder on there so our breadcrumbs are able to stick and stay on. I wanna make sure I get all surfaces. Even on the back here, because I want this Persillade to be well distributed and we'll have lots of flavor going on here. We have our oven preheated to 300 degrees. And what I'm gonna use this cookie sheet. I'm gonna just sprinkle all this Persillade mixture on. And this is gonna allow me a better way to bread this lamb rack up rather than doing it in a bowl. So just get it down in there, get all sides, top, bottom, both the sides. All right, I'm gonna go in here and I want to make sure all this is on very well. Start using my hands. All right, some of the aromas you're getting from this garlic, the fresh lemon, it just screams freshness. And a lot of these flavors, like I said, is going to neutralize, it's going to offset some of the gamey flavors in the lamb. So this is going to be something, I'll say it again, all you folks out there who don't like lamb, you're gonna love this one. I'm telling you, we're gonna convert a lot of these over. So we're gonna take our encrusted lamb rack, we're gonna get it on a small baking tray with a rack. We got our oven preheated to 300 degrees. We're gonna go into the oven and we're looking for a finished temperature of about 135 degrees. That's gonna be medium rare to medium. Probably gonna take, it's a 1 pound rack. We're probably looking at about a 40-minute roast. So see you in 40 minutes. We'll be right back. We'll pull this out and we'll see what we got. We roasted this. We got to about 135 degree internal temperature. It took roughly about 40 minutes, just under an hour. There's two ways you can go about this. You can stand it up and go in between the bones, but I found it much easier if you put it on its back. And now there are rib bones along the, what's called the chine right along here. Sometimes it's difficult to see them if you're standing it up, but if you place it down, you can have a better visual of where those bones are. Now you can slice these up in individual rib servings, such as this. I find it much better if you go double chops. That gives a much better per person portion. So go in between each 2 rib bones. This is not an easy thing to do. You kind of feel it out. Here we go. And I have one left here. Now, we went to 135 degrees. We got a medium rare. We're doing double chops, so I'm cutting in between every 2 bones. This one rack will feed 2 people. So for every rack, figure 2 people.
Look at that.
Oh. Very tender, very moist, delicious. That Persillade, the flavors just pick up the lamb flavor, and it actually kind of subtles that gaminess. So if you have a problem with lamb, you gotta try this rack of lamb Persillade. You're gonna love it, no doubt about it, and give it a try. It's Tommy the Butcher for Wise Guys Barbecue with rack of lamb Persillade. Hope you liked the video. Thumbs up, please subscribe, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. See you next time.